All right, in this station, we're being asked to graph x minus 4 thirds equals x thirds plus y. So if you've been to the other stations, this one certainly looks a little bit more complicated. You have fractions, you have x's on both sides. This pertains to no particular form of a line that we know, but it doesn't mean we can't graph it. All we need is 2 points, and then we can go. So what I would recommend doing first, and you wouldn't have to, I mean, if you want to try and combine the x's first, you certainly could. But I see denominators here, and it's the same denominator. So I'm actually just going to try and get rid of denominators to make my life easier. So I'm going to take both sides of the equation and multiply them each by 3, because I could distribute this 3 and distribute this 3, and it's balanced because I multiplied both sides by the same number. And then that would get rid of my fractions, right? So I would have 3 times x, which would just be 3x, and then minus 3 times 4 thirds, which the 3's would cancel and I would just have 4. And on the right side I do the same thing. 3 times x over 3, the 3's would cancel, I just have x, plus, and then 3 times y, which is 3y. And now I'm working with a much easier equation than the original, and it's the same thing, right? I just multiply both sides by 3, so it's balanced, so it's still equivalent. So now if I'm thinking about trying to make this a little bit easier, I see x's on both sides, so it's whatever you want to do, but I'm going to subtract this x from the right side. And then with like terms, I'm going to do 3x minus x to give me 2x minus 4 equals just 3y. Now this is still not any particular form, but that's okay. I don't know that you need to do too much more with it. You can certainly plug in values for x and for y. Plug in 0 for x and see what it spits out for y. You could plug in 0 for y and see what it spits out for x and get 2 points that way. Those would be your intercepts. What I'm actually going to do in this example, because y is almost by itself, I am actually going to divide both sides by 3. And I'm going to get y by itself over here. And then on the left side, I'd have 2x minus 4 over 3, which you can put that into 2/3. You can make that 2/3. Oops. X minus 4 thirds, if you wanted to, right? And you could keep it like this too, but this way you can actually see this is what we call slope-intercept form, which you may have already had that station. But simply this minus 4 thirds, that's equivalent to your y-intercept, or the b. So you could plot that. Negative 1 and 1/3 would be like right about there. And then this 2/3 is your slope, so it's your rise over run. So it basically would go up 1, 2, and then over 1, 2, 3 to right about there. And those are your 2 points. So from here, all you guys need to do is connect it, use arrows, and that is one way that you could get the line if you didn't want to plug in your own points. So again, we graphed a line that was in no particular form, again, in this station.